identity is always something that's been kind of in flux because, you know, you're changing in front of the mirror all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's weird. It's very strange. And so you know that you're whatever the standard has been set for femininity is like, I'm never going to be that. Right. I don't think so. I don't feel that way. At least I don't feel that way.
Do you know what's funny though? I think you are a very feminine woman though.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, but I feel that what she's trying to say is not that she doesn't fit on those standards, but she's between.
Sure, yeah.
Those and other kind of standards.
I'm just kind of moving between. I don't look. It's silly for me. You know what I mean? Like I can't. It's hard to talk about because it's like it feels very strange to me or foreign. Like when
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it feels strange to me too to hear those ideas because for me but I agree with you on most of the things that you see. I see your point. The changing in front of the mirror. I get that a lot because I think, but okay. So, right. So for me, life can be explained with math. Okay, so because if you think about it,
you're a formal thinking. I used to say that.
Well, but you can do a lot of things with math.
Tell me more.
That's the cool thing because for me, gender is binary. So you have male and female, right? And then you have X chromosome and XY chromosome, and then that ends there. But everything in between is also very true, because it gets more complicated than that, right? Because everything else is built in between. So you're not only your chromosome, you're way more, right? It comes to that leads to the idea of like your soul, whatever. Like if you want to look at who you are. Thinking about who you are is interesting because are you your body? I don't think so. I don't think you're only your body. Right? I think for me, I'm kind of driving my own body, kind of. So the idea of seeing it and seeing it evolve and kind of like being fluid in that sense in your mind, I agree with that. I see how that could work.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with a lot of the ideas that are taught lately about those is I think there's a lot of people that are unstable mentally that use those as kind of an excuse or kind of because there's a lot of attention that they're given to people like this right now, like people that claims to be like trans or non-binary or whatever it is. People use this as like, look at me, how interesting I am, kind of. Do you see what I mean or no? And I'm not saying this is your case at all.
No. I mean, you know, I think that there are things for everything, but I don't think making the choice to be trans or to not identify with your body is something that you would do would be an easy decision or something that you would do for attention, because it's like that's choosing to live like that's choosing to live in a really big struggle with yourself and with others and like putting yourself in a position where like I think saying that someone is doing it out of attention or a choice is like, it's hard because this person is choosing to live in suffering and to live against, and why would someone actively make that choice? Right. And I think that, you know, the way that society has been structured and the models that we have for, you know, determining what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and like how everything has been structured around that. Like, it's very problematic because it's making us try to fulfill these roles and expectations that aren't necessarily true to who we are. And so saying no to those things is okay. That's to not be that.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we're living in a moment where I mean, people are feeling more empowered to say, I am not that. I don't need to be that. And I think that we need to honor that, because making the choice to say, like, again, to say I am trans, or I don't feel like I feel like my body doesn't fit, or like my identity doesn't fit this, is like, that's a really big thing to tell yourself. Fuck. Like, so I think it's important to honor, all of the, what we say, and like, I don't know. I think that there's something there. I understand what you mean, because I think it comes back to the conversation that we have in terms of social media, and like what we're experiencing today in terms of polarization, and like, all the, there's just so much shit that's thrown at us all the time. But the reality is that there are so many realities.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
It's actually very cool that we get to talk about this, because I do like you, and I'm actually very curious about how you see it. Because it comes back to what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what's your perspective on this? And it's fascinating to see. And but for me, so I like stats too. Right.
Yeah.
I like stats. there's some things that and if you look at generation, I don't know if it's because when you look at the who identify as like gay or trans or LGBT or whatever the acronym is now. I think there's too many things in the acronyms.
And queer.
Yeah. But if you look at the number of people that are identifying as those, you see a sharp increase through the generation.
Yeah.
And I think now 25% of Gen Z identify as LGBT, which I don't understand. So I don't know if it's because it's trendy a little bit more. I think maybe there's
explain a little bit,
yeah,
not all, but I would like to say something about that.
I'm
like, no. I feel, to start from the beginning, I feel that mathematics are just a representation of reality. Reality is so much rich than mathematics, but it's so cool because it gives us a way to understand the world. So
it's a way to explain what's going on. So this is why math is interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because if you look at surface, if you look at everything that we're doing, you can always explain it with math.
And I would like to say too about those stats that I used to read a lot that la juventud, ser joven y no ser revolucionario es una contradicción hasta biológica.
To be young and to not be revolutionary is almost a
biological contradiction.
A biological contradiction.
Makes
That's
sense.
what a really good Latin American poet said a couple of decades before. And I really like that phrase because it represents how do you feel when you're young.
Yeah.
You want to challenge every single sign of authority.
Yeah.
And I feel that, how do you say machismo in English? I forgot the word.
Misogyny.
No, misogyny. Well, let's say that.
Say it in Spanish.
Let's say that men-ruled societies are kind of
patriarchal,
dying. Patriarchal behavior are dying, and it's kind of the things that we identify as a problem because there was a bunch of old guys feeling that we are so machos and we can make decisions for everyone, and if you're gay, if you're whatever, we are going to kill you. And it's a kind of annoying, and I feel that. That feeling, it's super sticked to Gen Z, and you can explain that people is not identifying as the regular male
model kind
male
of.
model kind of.
The patriarchy.
Actually, I would like to say that without saying that I'm gay, I don't identify myself as as a complete macho. Sometimes I use that. I like to be like a real man, like I have my big truck and stuff. But I prefer that people who are around me identify me as a sensitive guy, as
You're super queer.
I'm super queer, and
Yeah.
I can talk about a man as
Yeah,
like,
someone like anyone's beauty.
because I feel
Like,
that you are super constrict of because all this culture that tells you must behave like this. And I don't want
Exactly.
to. I
Okay.
don't want to. So
So
I'm ruined by some of those models.
Right.
But I prefer to make my own choices.
I agree. I agree. But it's interesting because so if I understand correctly, the idea of like a woman or a man or masculine women or feminine women for you it's construct it's con- you feel
constricting.
restrained in these ideas.
exactly.
okay.
And that kind of.
We are in flux. I feel
Exactly, we're
between
fluid.
societies, between societies, and I think that the society of the future is more oriented through I don't know, maybe people's emotions. We will be more we will worried more about people's health care.
About our
no,
humanity, and it's
mental health care
yeah.
and things like that. So I feel that this model about being super feminine or super
What it
man,
means to be a woman. What
Yeah.
it means to be like. Yeah.
they are these things are transforming. They are
Transforming.
transforming. So I feel that the confusion is there because we are on a society that tells you there is evil and there is good and nothing in between. Like
And it's
the,
a
the two
spectrum.
opposites. So
Yeah.
sometimes you feel, or I am a Superman or I'm super gay. And that's a confusion. You can be in between.
Yeah.
Just like me, without all that confusion, but it takes a long time and a long journey to realize what you are, what are your tastes, how do you feel comfortable with other genders or other people, how do you like sex, how do you like women, how do you
Right.
like men, how do you like friends, and it
How do you
takes a
like
lot
yourself?
of time. So I think that it's understandable that Gen Z has those numbers. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing because society is changing, and I'm super.
Well, also the definition expanded, so I guess it makes sense that the more you expand the definition of what of the not conformist, but it makes sense that the proverb that you said earlier. I don't know if you knew that, but I learned this a while back, a few months ago, I think. It's we're genetically programmed, especially men, to revolt against everything that our parents stands for when we get to
Adolescence?
to adolescence, and then up
That's
until
the
I think
thing.
25, mid 20s. So 15 to like for that 10-year period, we're actually wired to reject everything that our parents stands for, and then that's it's because we're built to prevent incest.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's especially for boys. Especially for boys, because if you think about it, if it makes sense, because the boy you could make babies with your mother, with your sister, with your cousin. You can do it. Physically you can.
Physically.
You can
But
it can
also-
do it, but it's just not
But-
good.
No, but yeah, no, but
But also talking from a society perspective, we do that in order to. I mean, that's a sign of, let's say, theory of evolution in humankind, because we need to advance just enough
Right.
to make to make the step, but not too far. That's why we are not revolutionary when we are 40s. We are super conservative people. The more old people are, the more conservative tend to be.
That's true.
It's not completely like that, but it's a kind of
It's true.
kind of rule.
But also, yeah, it makes sense, because when you're younger, then you think you know a lot of things. Then you realize, like, oh, okay, you don't know. I've seen the evolution that we had, that I personally had in business and even in real estate and in my life. I like myself much better now than even a few years ago. Even last year, I showed her the progress that I've made since I met her, and it's wild. It's the you want to see the effect that she has on me. Like, look at this shit.
It's a beautiful thing of being on our 30s.
Yeah.
We are
Seriously, very
starting
cool.
being proud about what we
It's
are.
actually very cool. So this was me last year, and then if you swipe, that's like last week.
Oh, bro.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are putting some effort in this.
Good job.
It's a big difference, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And no, it's cool to be able to improve. It's cool to be able to know, like, you need to be aware that you can be so much more than who you are now. And I agree with all of I agree with all this. This is why it's so cool to so interesting to have your perspective on the whole thing. Because one of my best friend is super gay. And I love this guy. And now he's it's my friend Kevin. We come from the same area in Beauce in Quebec. It's a small region. A lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of it used to be a lot of badass person. It still is, but he moved to Mexico last year. He moved to the west coast of Mexico last year, and then he's developing land right now. Yeah. So this is what I do. This school is very interesting because he's developing. He's selling project now. He's selling smaller projects, so homes, vacation home, triplex, like small investment. But he told me where he wanted to go with this, and that's aligned very well with what I'm trying to do, because he there's a lot of those big heavy industrial plant like Volkswagen, like the big manufacturing plant, right? I'm sure you heard in the last few years that a lot of those plants moved to Mexico for manufacturing. Right? This is called heavy industrial. So he's in the area where most of those are moving. So this is very cool, because when heavy industrial move to an area, then it takes a while, but in the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever, so those companies, those big companies, are going to need workers, they're going to need services, they're going to need light industrial companies to service those companies, right? Because you have the heavy that they produce the things that we use, cars, planes, whatever. And then the light industrial, usually it's the services for the heavy industrial, for the industries. So then what happened is those industries move somewhere, then it creates opportunities for the light industrial, then people move there, so there's opportunity for residential development, and then for retail too, because they need to
of course,
to buy some stuff, right? So this is cool when heavy industrial moves somewhere, then it creates all of those ripple effect of opportunities in land development. And then this is what I do, and this is what I like to do. It's very cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
But how's your relationship with your family now?
Oh no, I have a great relationship with my
Yeah?
family.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I feel I love my family so much, and honestly, I think we've learned a lot throughout the journey.
Yeah.
I think,
What's the most important thing you learned? Do you think so?
the most important thing?
Or
I
maybe that your
learned?
dad learned, because
I mean, I don't think we've had this conversation
Maybe you
per
should.
se.
it'd be an interesting one to have, right? Because
Yeah.
you're saying your relationship with them are great now, right?
And we've had a great relationship. I think it's just like this thing. Okay, so going back to the topic, it's just like, how do you handle that as a parent?
Right.
When your upbringing and like these are the expectations and these are the things. How do you handle a child who's like dealing with all of these struggles? You're dealing with it yourself because you had a dream and you envision your kid to be something. And so, growing up with that, so that was the thing. And I think today, after, so many conversations and so many, I don't know, and just seeing who I am and how I've developed, I think I think they did everything that they could, and they're supportive. And I think that my dad today, you know, it's not something that we talk about much. I think I do keep this topic a lot to myself.
Why do you feel you need to keep it to yourself though?
I don't know. I think I feel a lot of shame around it.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I do. It's painful. It's hard.
Is it because of like reactions that you have? Like, is it because
You feel like you need to put on a mask before you
yeah.
leave the house every day, or before you feel like, yeah.
And see, it's the cool
We
thing
have
with
this
you is I
conversation
don't.
all the time.
Yeah,
I don't get a mask from you at
Yeah,
all.
me
The
neither.
second you walked in, I was like,
I was
oh,
like, yeah,
she's
I like her.
gorgeous.
As
She's
soon
got a
as soon as I
style.
saw you get out of the truck and you gave me the hug, and then he was there
Yeah.
too, and then
She's
we
very
kind of
authentic.
yeah,
You can-
very
you can
very.
tell
very
that.
I
Very
didn't
much
feel
so.
that way at all.
I felt
So-
at ease, like
very
the
interesting.
moment
Yeah.
you came in, I was
Oh.
very much at ease, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
this
she's
is why
very true to
I
herself.
feel comfortable like talking to
Yeah.
you about those, because
Same.
it's a subject, it's a heavy subject.
It is.
Right?
And we were
It's
talking about it last night.
and,
Kind of.
and I'm sorry if I did like something that
No.
made you feel uncomfortable
Oh
or
my
whatever.
God.
But like,
No. You know what? I really, and I, you know, I have to apologize if me talking about this is a little scattered, because it's like, it's not something that I usually talk about,
Yeah.
right? In public in this
Yeah.
way. And like,
we're not in public, we're just together.
you know, it's just us. No. But, you know, I actually, I feel really grateful for this moment to be able to talk about it. It's
Well, it's-
messy. It's like,
Appreciate you sharing. Yeah.
and I think that more people should talk about it,